Li Cunxin's life story could well be a ballet. The performance would start in China as classical Western dance is being swept away in Chairman Mao's Cultural Revolution. Then, with Mao's wife restoring ballet to favour, fate would smile on a 10-year-old in a village. Young Li Cunxin would be discovered and turned into the greatest dancer in the land. Then would come a dramatic escape from the clutches of communism, and finally, in a land far away, there would of course be the happy ending. That land is Australia. It's a surprise at first to see Li Cunxin as the leading man in a classical ballet. After the likes of Nureyev and Barishnikov, who would have thought that the new prince at centre stage would be a former peasant boy from China? Has it been more difficult for you, coming from the Chinese culture, to know how to act as a medieval European prince?
It was probably the biggest hurdle. I can't put a bigger nose, I can't pull my eyes down, or I can't dye my hair blonde, but I can certainly to have the soul of that character.
It's the way he interprets a part, his athleticism and technical perfection that makes him one of the finest dancers in the world today. Li's a huge star in the United States. He's won hearts everywhere, but one in particular. Was he the prince that was going to win your heart?
He was someone that I really thought...
had a potential.
Yeah, or there was definitely something about this man that I couldn't resist. I did want to know him.
Mary McKendry was a principal dancer with the London Festival Ballet. Li was touring Europe as the star of the Houston Ballet, and they literally fell in love on stage. What does he like to dance with, from a ballerina's point of view?
Oh, the best. The best.
Li, you'd seen 100 beautiful ballerinas. What was it about this girl from Rockhampton that won your heart?
Her passion for dance.
It's the kind of story that would make a wonderful ballet. But for this Romeo to find his Juliet, he had to flee from the East to the wild, wild West.
My first shock was when I arrived in Houston at the airport. And I really, because all the propaganda throughout the years, and I truly believed what I have learned in China. I thought the cowboys will run on the street wild, and with guns they will shoot you if they didn't like the look of you, or they'll run over you or whatever.
It's a bit like that.
Well, not quite that extreme.
The Chinese were not amused when Li made his leap to freedom. He was China's greatest ballet dancer. He could have had anything he wanted at home, so it became a tug-of-war between Washington and Beijing. Even the White House got involved.
The Chinese consulate in Houston kept me in the consulate for over 21 hours. And it was George Bush then, he was the vice president, who intervened and found the Chinese leaders in China and basically got the permission for me to stay.
You were a communist choosing to live in the land of capitalism. Were you aware of the political importance that you were really defecting?
Yes, I thought I might never see my family again. I thought maybe the Chinese government might hunt me down and kill me. But I feel so strongly, if I want to be the best to reach my best ability in dance. That's what I have to do.
It took enormous courage for Li to break with his past. He was one of 7 sons in a poor family, raised to be in awe of Chairman Mao.
I would have done anything for Mao. He was God. Probably the first word I would ever said was, I love Chairman Mao, before I probably even said, I love my parents.
After the destruction of so much during the Cultural Revolution, Chairman Mao was persuaded by his wife to rebuild the Beijing Dance Academy. Li was 10 and had never danced, but out of millions of children, he was among the chosen few.
They took our legs and tried to see how flexible you are, and put them up in all directions. And as they're doing it, they ask you, does that hurt? I mean, although probably hurt, but I just smiled and said no, because I thought, this is what Mao wanted us to do.
Did they work you hard in that Beijing Academy?
Very hard. At time, I just thought, I probably want to kill myself. But now looking back, I think it's the most special time in my life.
If they hadn't have found him, he may have been a farm boy digging the paddy fields.
That's right, absolutely.
And would that have been a great loss to the world of ballet?
It would indeed, and it would have been a great loss to the Australian Ballet.
Same sort of step, but just do it always to the
This way?
side. Yes.
Maina Gilgood, artistic director of the Australian Ballet, invited Li last year to join her troupe as a principal dancer.
That's supposed to be a double. I didn't think.
When he's in rehearsal, when he's in class, his attitude is that of a young 19-year-old, 20-year-old who's still excited about working at doing something better, something more. You get the impression that it's fun for him, that it's not a chore, and that's so important.
And exhale. Roll up through your spine.
I couldn't imagine most Australian 10-year-olds making the sacrifices or being as disciplined as he was as a child, the things that, in a way, the communists did to him.
Yes, but then I suppose he didn't have a choice.
This is pretty much where I was born.
When Li finally returned to China after more than a decade, he took his new Australian bride with him to meet the family.
Actually, I was probably one of the first Western women to go into the village, and they were so happy, and they were all peeking around the corners and all talking and wanting to know me and wanting to show their bound feet.
Li, what did your family think of Mary when you brought this Australian girl home?
At first, they were quite skeptical, and they truly wanted me to marry a Chinese girl, and that was probably in their heart, that was probably the right thing to do. And soon after they met Mary, they immediately took her to heart.
Go, Peter.
Li and Mary are now raising a family of their own in Melbourne. Here he's found some open sky, a freedom to move, and a place to cope with a pain only parents can understand. Soon after the birth of their first child, Sophie, they learned she was profoundly deaf.
We were devastated, and we just we thought she could love and enjoy music just as much as we are, and being dancers, that without music is just unthinkable.
Mary had been at the peak of her dance career, an acclaimed performer in Europe and America. But she gave up everything to spend the hours that were needed with Sophie.
I don't think it was even a choice, really, in the end. I just had decided that I wanted her to speak, and I knew what it took, and I knew that it had to be her language had to be developed before she was 5.
Come inside, in the house. You say, Ian, come in.
To get 1 or 2 words, was it a great struggle?
A year and a half of speaking every single day with her, 7 or 8 hours a day, just same things over and over again, and still 2 words was a major achievement and a great effort for her.
Point.
The reward for Mary and Lee has been watching Sophie discover their world.
Very good.
Thanks to that Australian invention, the cochlear implant, she can now take her place in a ballet class.
And little runs. Watching, Ruby, watching.
She can hear the teacher and is in love with the music.
And pause.
We just think it's a miracle. Every single day we don't take for granted that she can hear.
No, never. We always say, Sophie, did you hear that?
And she said, yes, I did.
And we're so happy.
No. Do arabesque, stretch your arms, and you looking like that little girl, right?
Okay.
Arabesque.
While Sophie will always have her father and mother to coach her through her steps, thousands of other young ballet students will soon enjoy the same masterful instruction.
Who's that? Australian.
What do you think? Do you think he's good?
Maybe.
Lee is the star of the world's first CD-ROM ballet class. He's passing on the techniques and the timing that have made him famous. And we're fortunate now to be able to see Lee at his peak in the Australian Ballet's new production of Coppelia.
I'm so happy to be here. I think Australian Ballet is one of the best companies in the world. By coming to Australia, I almost become more mature overnight. And in this new environment, I felt I'm even freer.
This is your first ball, ladies and gentlemen.
There's no restriction to me. People respect me here for what I do, and they respect my values here.
5 minutes.
And I just almost gained a second life to my career.
Lee plans to end his dancing days with our own Australian ballet. The Prince from China is today an inspiration to those who dance with him and those of us lucky enough to watch him.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.